My ability to shoot the gift made them say that I'm gifted. No drugs, but it's dope when I scripted. Like AI, practice I skipped it. Scolded a skeptic, decoded the scriptures, behold it, I'm epic. Not that label, touch the sky like the Tower of Babel. Still debating if it's fact or fable, as if it matter. The new gold and silver is data. Information about the habits that have us spending money so lavish, as if material is status. The confusion is real, intrusion inside your mind.
Boxing,
beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
Just look at my reaction when it finished and look at his reaction. His head was down. And I knew I won. I knew I won. Ex-world champion saying he won one round, like, why did the judges do this to people? I should be changing my family's life. I've got another child on the way. If I could get paid doing something else, I would be doing it. It's a hard game, man. And when you get fucking decisions like this, like, just fucking puts you off the whole fucking sport, it does.
How can we start? Let me say my part.
The boxers pretty much can't do much about the politics that they're subject to. Zach Parker believes he lost out on life-changing money. Said if he could do something else he would, because it's a tough sport. A lot of the people saying that he was robbed, in my opinion, are not taking into account if his conduct and tactics were in keeping with the ethics of Queensberry rules boxing. 7 years ago, Zach Parker won a split decision against Darryl Williams, which many people thought Darryl won. This was the only loss on Darryl's record. He retired 17-1-0, and he never fought again, retired at the age of 27. I'm sure Darryl believes he lost out on life-changing money, disillusioned with the game that he said he saw more as a business than a sport.
Once we had got to like the 6th or 7th round, I thought I was coasting it, really, you know. I wasn't really getting caught with any punches. I thought I had it. You know, I'm not a person that starts jumping up and celebrating and stuff like that. Like, that's not what I do. I'm just not my character. I don't even know what to say. He said off camera that he'd rematch me. I'm up for taking that straight away. It's upsetting. I was in tears afterwards, you know. I've come from nothing. I've had nothing. This is what, you know, this is what's happened, you know. So
boxing,
beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
Chantelle Cameron took a principled stance and vacated her WBC 140-pound title for equality for women's boxing. She wants her fights to be fought at the 3-minute round duration like men. A couple of years back, she also got Eddie Scottney tossed off a Katie Taylor undercard when Eddie Scottney had a world title opportunity because Chantelle was citing stress and mental health issues because Eddie was part of Team McGuigan, Shane and Barry, and Chantelle had recently split and fell out with them. And I guess seeing them at media events, press conferences and weigh-ins was a little too much for Chantelle, and Chantelle got away. I'm sure Eddie trained very hard for her opportunity. Chantelle was supposed to enter a purse bid to fight Matchroom's Sandy Ryan for the title. Sandy said Chantelle was emailed the belt a couple of weeks back and now she's gave it up without defending it because she doesn't want to fight her. Is that true? Is that why Chantelle's making this big fuss? It's not really a protest. She don't want to fight Sandy. That's what Sandy's saying. I guess Sandy will fight for the vacant title. In all truth, I don't really think that Chantelle's protest is making much of an impact. I don't think the sanctioning bodies are going to budge. I don't see a bunch of women or boxing fans saying, "You go, girl, you stick it to the man." I'm just not really seeing that. She can fight a 10 freeze, 12 freeze minute fight if she likes without the sanctioning body's approval. She's a very complex woman, Chantelle Cameron, talented fighter. I don't think no one's probably got the heart to tell her that, as well as the medical issues that the sanctioning bodies will cite why the women fight 2 minutes as opposed to 3. A lot of people don't want to see their fights drag on. People have said it, but the people in the industry are scared to say it because they're going to be deemed as misogynist, sexist pigs.
Now, she's got to do what she's got to do. This is something she believes in, but I just feel she's denied herself of a career-defining fight, and she's denied us, the fans, of a great fight. Since Jake Paul and Netflix took boxing, female boxing out the UK, we don't really get no good women's boxing over here. Am I lying? That would have been a good fight. I'm not sure how meaningful the protest is. I believe she wants the Katie Taylor fight, but Katie's sitting it out till next year, and she might not fight again. So Chantelle has to process right now what she wants to do, who she wants to fight, if she wants to fight. That's the fight she really wanted, was Katie, the rubber match.
But let's move on.
All you niggas better go and call an ambulance, come and pick up your people.
On behalf of the British Boxing Board of Control, Robert W. Smith, the Secretary-in-Chief in Command, I, Boxing Beats and Rhymes, would like to inform Chris Eubank Jr. that the venue is in charge of security for access in and out of the arena. The promoter is responsible for security in the dressing rooms and the areas approaching the walkway to the ring. And that's it. It's not the promoter's responsibility if there was a delay with the ambulance. And if he's going to lay the blame on the promoter, which one? There's 3 promoters' names on the paperwork. You could go check it on BoxRec, yeah? There's Eddie Hearn, there's Ben Shalom, and there's Frank Warren. Maybe Ben delayed the ambulance, and then Chris had the spat with Frank and pissed Frank right off, and Frank took out a lawsuit on Chris, not for the first time. Maybe it was Frank. But like I said, once you're in that ambulance, in that section of the venue, it's nothing to do with the promoter. And only the dim-witted members of the Chris Eubank Jr. fan club don't get that. Now you can hear what I assume is Nappa screaming, "Open the door, open the iron gate!" So there was an issue. I'm just wondering why they think it's Eddie, when Ben Shalom probably hates Chris Eubank Jr. just as much as Eddie, and Frank Warren certainly does, maybe even more so.
Boxing,
Beats and rhymes.
no one can do it better.
So the Guardian say Victor Conte, the architect of a scheme to provide undetectable performance-enhancing drugs to professional athletes, including the baseball star Barry Bonds and Jason Giambi, and the Olympic track champion Marion Jones, died. He was 75 years of age. The federal government's investigation into the company Conte founded yielded the convictions of Jones, the elite sprint cyclist Tammy Thomas, and the former NFL defensive lineman Dana Stubblefield, along with coaches, distributors, a trainer, a chemist, and a lawyer. Conte served 4 months in a federal prison for dealing steroids, talked openly about his former clients. He went on television to say he had seen the 3-time Olympic medalist Jones inject herself with human growth hormones, but always stopped short of implicating Bonds, the San Francisco Giant slugger. A bit of snitching there by Vic. It's a long article, but Conte remained defiant about his central role in doling out designer steroids to elite athletes. He maintained he simply helped level the playing field in a world already rife with cheaters. To Dr. Gary Wadler, a then member of the World Anti-Doping Agency, Conte may as well have been pushing cocaine or heroin. You are talking about totally illegal drug trafficking. You are talking about using drugs in violation of federal law, Wadler said in 2007. This is not philanthropy. This is not some do-gooding. This is drug dealing. If you're around my age, Victor Conte is very much frowned upon because Dwayne Chambers was such a respected athlete over here. And while he's not the first British athlete or sprinter to pop over here, it was a huge news story. Why is it the only sport that Victor could not only get employment, but work with elite boxers with his supplements and nutrition called Snack? Mikey Garcia, Devin Haney, Clarissa Shields, Terence Crawford, Dubois Andrade, Kaylee Plant, Sean Porter, Danny Jacobs, Andre Berto, Vanis Marta-Rosen, to name a few. I mean, he was a consultant for VADA, supposedly the most respected testing agency. Probably not the day to go in depth on it, but Gervonta Davis kept it classy as ever. Good day in boxing. No more Snack for you bastards.
Boxing,
Beats and rhymes.
no one can do it better.
AJ training with Usyk in Spain could be looked on that, Usyk has really conquered you. Because now, You can't really be looking to fight Usyk a third time if you're training with him, because it does look like he's accepting that he can't beat Usyk. Usyk said he's retiring when he's 41, so if AJ was serious about getting in contention for titles, there's enough time for him to get some wins, get a title shot, and get that third fight with Usyk. But perhaps AJ is just thinking about a couple more fights, the big one with Fury, and get the F out. Or you get an opportunity to train with Usyk and Yuri Tachenko and Serhai Lapine. It could be that small percentage that makes the last few fights a success or potentially tarnishing his career. The Ben Davison hookup, it's hard to tell with AJ. The details are vague, whether it's a permanent thing with Team Usyk. We've seen AJ go in and out of camps. Derek James, Virgil Hunter, Robert Garcia. He's done a lot of switching up. Has it been detrimental to his career? Is he searching too hard for the perfect trainer? When is he going to fight? Before the year is out or next year? Is there still carryover when Ben Davison told him to roll the dice, which didn't mean empty the tank exactly. It meant step in with the jab and throw that right uppercut. Dubois would duck his head apparently when AJ threw the right hand. It didn't work, as we know, and sometimes coaches are always the scapegoats. Purse bids are being targeted for November the 13th. Danny Dubois and Frank Sanchez. Some people asking why Derek Chisora, ranked #1, isn't in the shake-up world. He's having one more fight apparently, so what's the point of fighting an eliminator? I doubt he'd fight Frank Sanchez, and I doubt he'd fight Daniel anyway. Richard Torres is ranked ahead of Danny Dubois. Why hasn't he been put forward? Well, can't be that big a deal from Top Rank because they're not saying anything, so they're prepared to let Dubois fight the eliminator and they'll bide their time. We know Moses Atoma declined this eliminator with Frank Sanchez. You get the feeling that Sanchez will fight any name that comes out the hat. He's not picking and choosing because he can't pick and choose like the British heavyweights. How does Frank Warren play it? Because Dubois did call out Ajit Cabello, and Cabello wants to fight Dubois after Cabello gets rid of nondescript opponent later this month, if he gets rid of him. But Cabello's not an easy fight. Cabello destroyed Frank Sanchez. And there's no easy routes for Daniel to get back in the picture, having to fight the likes of Cabello or Sanchez. Maybe Sanchez is the lesser of two evils. What's he got left? Is Daniel perhaps catching him at the right time? Timing is everything in boxing. Sanchez, if it goes to a purse bid, will pick up the larger end of the purse, but it's likely going to go to a purse bid. I don't think Sanchez is even with the PBC no more, so Frank will have the bid all to himself. He's not going to bid that high because he's got to pay Frank 60%. He can literally do a ghost bid, go low, pay Sanchez low, and perhaps give Daniel a little something under the table. Could be a London-bound fight, O2 Arena. I hope Daniel takes the fight.
Boxing,
Beats and rhymes.
no one can do it better.
I mean, I think they're going to always prioritise a guy like Adam Azim. If they've got 4 shows, he'll probably take 3 of them. It's about the lower tier fights, and that's where it's going to be. You know, if you've got a prospect coming through, you might not get regular fights. But I think there's going to deal with another platform to work with. So they'll do the main shows with BBC and build out other shows on another broadcast platform.
Now, Shane said he thinks they've done a deal. And if they have done a deal with another platform, who are these lower tier fighters he's talking about? What, Callum Simpson? Lauren Price? Who are they? I mean, Shane was really feeling himself and Adam Azim. If they've got 4 dates on the BBC for the year, Adam Azim will probably take 3 of them. Azim's actually got a late replacement in Kurt Scobie, Pennsylvania. 18-1-0 with 16 inside the distance. He's won his last 3 or 4 inside the distance. Is he a better replacement than Abdulev? I've seen him a couple of times. He's not bad. It's a good opponent for Adam Azim. So Ben will be able to get a few more dates for his fighters. What he won't be able to get off this platform, because there are no large platforms out there, his own excluded. If he's not on TNT, Sky or Channel 5, there are no large platforms. So it's going to be a lower tier platform. He still won't be able to make significant purse bids, like when the likes of Callum Smith has to defend his European title, or when Chris Billiam Smith was supposed to fight so-and-so for the interim WBO title. But this is where boxing is at right now. The promotion game is very tough. Apparently Wasserman and the Sauerlands still have the Channel 5 deal, but they're just not getting enough fight dates. And they're not getting the significant fights for their fighters, like Lyndon Arthur, George Kelly. But Ben's got to keep scrapping. We're going to see what he's made of. This is nothing compared to what Frank Warren went through in his baptism into pro boxing in the 80s. It's nothing.
Looking for you. Looking for December 6th, how you're going to do it.
I got my eyes on you, Janabek. Good luck.
Crawford with cleanness. He's got his eyes on Johnny Beck. Johnny Beck has the WBO and IBF titles. Lara has the WBA belt. They will fight on the 6th of December, unifying the scraps. That will only leave the WBC champion, Carlos Adames, to top the undisputed claim. Crawford, is he overlooking Erislandy Lara? Are a lot of people overlooking Erislandy Lara? Okay, Johnny Beck's the favorite, not going to argue. Lara, 10 years his senior, 42, Johnny Beck is 32. Is still arguably his most formidable opponent. The best fight Johnny Beck has had has come from Denzel Bentley, the Briton, the Londoner, who I would say is European fringe world level at best. And he gave Johnny Beck a decent fight. It wasn't life or death, but it was a decent scrap. And Johnny Beck has went from this supposed killer a few years back to someone who's just treading water. I don't feel he gets past Lara and Crawford. I don't believe he does. But we're going to see how good he is, because the career-defining fights are opening up. And don't forget Carlos Adames, who will be watching all the activity with a keen eye. Crawford is planning to return to the ring in March. Is that to fight the well, in his eye, Johnny Beck. But I would say the winner out of Lara and Johnny Beck. Johnny Beck is the favourite and should win, but we'll see. I'm a big Mayweather fan, but I like the idea better that Terence Crawford is flagship in the sport, because Terence wants to break records. Mayweather wanted to break financial records, and he was a great fighter, but he was more concerned with that than becoming undisputed in any weight class. Crawford wants to become 4-time undisputed in the 4-belt era. That's just bonkers. All roads lead to 160 next year. 160 is my division pick for 2026, with Terence Crawford flagshipping. It's like Saturday, Texas. Virgil Ortiz will be defending his WBC interim 154-pound belt against Erickson Lubin. And guess who's in attendance? Jerome Boots Ennis and Eddie Hearn. So it's almost like this Boots Ortiz fight is a formality. Oscar De La Hoya's talking about it, Eddie's talking about it. There's only one obstacle. Erickson Lubin. Is he just going to fold like everyone's assuming? Or is he going to put up a stern test? I expect Ortiz to win. Lubin has failed at the big obstacles a couple of times, but he can fight, and he does have skills. Let's not write it off until it's over, as far as I'm concerned. Virgil, in his last 2 at 154, hasn't scored as much as a knockdown, and I believe power is a big part of his game. This could be more tricky than you've been told.
My ability to shoot the gift made them say that I'm gifted. No drugs, but it's dope when I script it. Like AI, practice I skipped it. Scolded the skeptic, decoded the scriptures, behold it, I'm epic. Not that label, touch the sky like the Tower of Babel. Still debating if it's fact or fable, as if it matter. The new gold and silver is data. Information about the habits that have us spending money so lavish, as if material is status. The confusion is real, intrusion inside your mind.
Boxing
beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.